Ferrari. The name alone is enough to set the pulse racing. The Italian aristocrat of automobility, with the prancing stallion as its emblem, has launched a special racing series so that owners of these wonderful machines can experience all that the cars of this noble marque have to offer. And now that the second legendary Italian sports car maker, Maserati, is, since 1999, part of the Ferrari group, Maserati drivers are also welcome to enter the Ferrari Historic Challenge. Here is one of the automobiles which can be there at the start, one of only 29 Maserati 300S models ever built, of which today only about 15 examples have survived. In the year it was first built, 1955, this was a car unbeatable in its class, and that was in spite of rivals like the hitherto all-victorious Mercedes 300 SLR. The Maserati weighed considerably less than a ton and had almost 300 horsepower. That hints at performance, and the potential was revealed in 1955 triumphantly. Anyone allowed to sit in this cockpit could show all that he was capable of. Traditionally, the Italians preferred right-hand drive. One factor in the car's success was certainly the six-cylinder motor, with 3 liters displacement and 3 giant Weber dual carburetors. A beast like this called for a talented tamer. Dr. Wolf Zweifler accepted the challenge some years ago. Sports cars have always fascinated me, but older models only since a visit to England, where I saw E-Types and Aston Martins on the road. The reason I have come to be more and more interested in racers, in particular for street racers, is simple. At some point you realize that driving a valuable car down to the pub and back is not enough, and that there are few opportunities to use these cars as they're meant to be used, driven at high speeds. Not possible on most roads. And a race car belongs on the racetrack. That allows you to experience that special excitement. Now, Ferrari and Maserati owners can take part in this special series, restricted to just these 2 marques, and that's an advantage. For these are very costly automobiles, and if we raced together with other cars, which are perhaps not so precious, there would be more chance of something happening. Most, although not all, owners of cars like these want to retain and safeguard their car's value. The Ferrari Historic Challenge, the cars compete in 3 classes: cars with drum brakes, with disc brakes and single-seaters. An exception is made for drivers of early Alfa Romeo models. After all, Enzo Ferrari was head of the Alfa racing team before he built a first car of his own. The organizer of the Ferrari Historic Challenge is the manufacturer itself. For the relatively modest fee of €6,000, an owner can participate in all the races in a given year. But for most, the start fee is just pocket money, given that many of the cars can be valued at over €1 million. Why risk such valuable and unique automobiles in competitive race action? Because one hopes that a bit of the glory of the car will rub off on oneself. That has to be one of the main reasons. Then you not only have a car which is a sound investment, but one in which you can really have a lot of fun and drive together with others which are similar. Good reasons, I'd say. The main thing about this car is simply that it is a 300S. What's special is that as a works car, it ran in 4 important works races in 1957, when Maserati had a good chance to win the Marque World Championship. Never were they so close, and it was a shame they didn't make it. This car had the second best placing that a Maserati ever achieved in the Mille Miglia, coming in 4th in the last Mille Miglia in 1954 with Scarlatti driving. The car's last start in a race was at the Grand Prix in Caracas. The driver was Jörg Compagnie. When Harry Schell in a Works 450S overtook him, Compagnie lost a wheel and rammed the 450S. It burned out, and Compagnie himself hit a lamppost, which was, hard to believe, in the middle of the racetrack. He jumped out just in time, but the lamppost was somewhere in here. The damage was then repaired, but you can still see on the frame where it hit the lamppost. Racing in those days was extremely dangerous, and today it still is. The fastest machines on the track hit top speeds of over 270 kilometers an hour. Today that's still pretty fast, but in the 50s it was otherworldly. In the Ferrari Historic Challenge, there is no lack of intensive competitivity in the drive to head the field. And where the action is intense, accidents are inevitable. This birdcage Maserati was lucky, but Burkhard von Schenk in the 300S was less fortunate. No serious injuries to note, thank God, but the expensive machinery. Sensitive old-time fans should probably not watch this. This is a Ferrari Tour de France, still in mint condition. And that was another. Why put cars like this through such torture? This is what they were built for. It remains a pile of metal, and the car cannot be more destroyed. But with cars of this caliber, there are no total write-offs, no matter how serious the accident. There is always the possibility of repairing and rebuilding, and the costs involved are only a fraction of the car's total worth. The value is a virtual value determined by the limited supply and demand. It has nothing to do with the cost of hammering metal back into shape or rebuilding an engine from scratch. In other words, the automobile is immortal. And that's what's best when the prices are so high. The cars will exist in all eternity. This means, of course, that the Ferrari Historic Challenge is something for the super-rich, who are able to put another $500,000 on the table if called upon to have their damaged racer rebuilt by expert restorers. But for those of us who do not belong to this privileged category, the noble races in Italy are a wonderful spectator experience. Such elite motor racing action as the Ferrari Historic Challenge is not often to be encountered. If you have the chance, be there.